Shabbat Shalom. Getting ready for another epic Shabbos. Every Shabbos is epic. And again, in this week's Torah portion, the Torah tells us about Shabbat. But at the beginning of the portion, the Torah tells us about the biggest and most unique fundraiser ever taken. When Moses encouraged the Jewish people to help and donate for the tabernacle. And the Torah tells us something that happened once in the history of Jewish fundraising. That the Jewish people brought so much gold and silver and gifts that Moses had to turn to the Jewish people and tell them, die, stop bringing. Never ever since has it happened. But it's interesting because we also read about the contribution that the tribes, the leaders of the tribes, the Nisi'im, gave towards the tabernacle. And the Torah tells us that they gave the stones for the choshen, for the breastplate that Moses wore, from with which God spoke to him. If that the Nisi'im, the leaders gave. But interestingly enough, the word Nisi'im is missing. The word Nisi'im is missing a letter. What's the letter it's missing? A Yud. Why? And the rabbis tell us something interesting. When something's missing in the Torah, when there's one letter missing, it's there to give us a message. What's the message of the Nisi'im? So the rabbis say, and Rashi brings it down, that when Moses said everyone should contribute to the tabernacle, what happened? The Nisi'im turned to Moses. They were the leaders, and they said, hey, Moses, let everyone bring, and we'll bring whatever's needed afterwards. And that's what happened. But by the time everyone had brought, as we learned earlier, there was too much, and there was nothing left for the Nisi'im to bring. So what did they do? They brought the stones for the Choshen Mishpat. And later on, as we read in Numbers, they learned from their mistake. And they were the first to contribute when the Mishkan was actually inaugurated. They didn't wait for it. But the question is, what was wrong? Imagine, we're getting ready. We just bought land. We're going to build soon a building. Imagine if someone came over and said, Rabbi, go out there and fundraise. And whatever you don't cover, I'll cover. I would dance. That would be the greatest thing, right? But yet, with the Jewish people, with the leaders, the tribes, the Torah says it's missing a letter because that wasn't good. What was wrong? And one of the beautiful commentaries say that there was one thing that lacked with the leaders. You see, when they said, Moses, you go collect and we'll give whatever's left over, they were basically having a lack of faith in the people. They thought the people won't give enough. They won't be generous enough with the tabernacle, and we're going to have to fill in. So let them give and we'll fill in. But if they would have had true faith in the Jewish people, they would know that they'll bring enough. God tells Moses to build a tabernacle. Is there a question that the Jews will bring more than enough? The fact that the leaders in the Nisi'im thought we'll give at the end meant that they thought that there wouldn't be enough. And that lack of faith was their mistake, because leaders and all of us need to have the greatest faith in each human being, being endowed with the gift that God gave them, the chelik alakam imal mamish, that they have a soul of God, and they could reach that great potential by doing the right thing. It's interesting. It's a very powerful lesson to lead to all of us, because each one of us is a leader somewhere, in our home, in our business. Some of us just in our 4 square cubits when we're alone, but we're all leaders. Every one of us has to remember to have faith in those around us, that they will do the right thing. And if you give them the opportunity, if you believe in them enough, they will get it done. Yesterday we had the honor of having a soldier who just finished his reserves come speak to us. He was a duvdevan. Duvdevan means cherry on the top. And he was in Desert Shield in Gaza. But when October 7th happened, he was with his wife in Tel Aviv. They just found out they were pregnant with their first baby. And he had had knee surgery a few months ago, so he didn't have to go back to the army. But of course he knew he had to go back. And he spent 4 months fighting in Judea and Samaria. And he told us some of the most remarkable things that he did and his group did in order to protect the Jewish people and Israel. And it made me think, he was one out of 350,000 soldiers who went to battle. Every one of them is a hero. Every one of them is a leader. When you have faith in the Jewish people, when you believe in their capabilities, they will rise to the occasion. And yes, we speak about October 7th, and we speak about the epic failures that Israel had, the fact that they didn't know and weren't ready. But we also have to recognize about all those who rose up to the occasion. And one of the things that this guy Chagai told us, which really touched me, they said, I asked him in the interview, what was the one thing you learned from all of this? And he said, humility. We thought we're invincible. We thought no one could get to us. We were so proud. He said just a week earlier he was watching Golda with his friends, the new movie, and he said, look, Ed, that was Yom Kippur War, but now it's different. And he said we have to be humble. We have to be humble, but always prepared. And we have to believe in the capability of each soldier, of each Jew, of each human being, that when they have faith put in them, they will accomplish. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. It's a beautiful Shabbos coming up. We read two portions in the Torah, Parshat Shkalim and the regular portion of Vayakel. We bless the new month of Adar, which is going to be the last month of the year, the second Adar, a month of tremendous celebration and joy. And we, of course, have Erev Rosh Chodesh, which is like a mini Yom Kippur of a day of power in our prayers. So may the Almighty give us that our prayers should reach heaven and that we should be able to pray for all of our brothers and sisters. And may there be shalom and health and strength for all of Israel. Shabbat Shalom.